Hello YouTube and welcome to my Let's Play of Jade Cocoon 2. My name is SSJGazHar99. I'm with TS Libra today. So we are just chatting away about different stuff, different games that we're playing and things like that. And yeah, so I'm going to continue on in the Wind Forest. I believe this is part number 40 something, 42 I think. So we're going to continue on and we're going to continue chatting about Star Wars and what's coming up there and our own opinions of the game. Now, I would normally talk about this game while I'm playing it, but since TS Libra has never played Jade Cocoon before, he can't really chat about it himself. So we're going to talk about games that we both have played before. At the moment, I believe Star Wars is pretty much the only MMO that we've both played and know little bits of information about. So we're going to continue talking about that while we play Jade Cocoon. So say hello to everybody, Libra.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, so
as we was previously saying.
So, what were we talking about before?
Well,
endings, really, wasn't it? You know.
It was the endings that we were talking about. The fact that I dislike that if you pick an Inquisitor, your ending's going to be the same, regardless if you choose to be a sorcerer, which are the healing race, with the healing side for people who don't know, and an assassin, which are technically the tanks.
What exactly happened?
Or if you're a marauder, you can. If you're a warrior, you can either be a marauder or a juggernaut. It annoyed me because I really wanted there to be separate missions for both kind of things. For example, juggernauts had no problem because they had this mass amount of health, killing things, and marauders had a bit more trouble until they got to the higher levels.
Couldn't stay away.
It would have been better if there were separate missions, separate classes.
If there is any possibility.
But to be honest with you though, if they were to do that with Star Wars, it made the game 5 times longer to come out. I think that's where a lot of my, as I said to you before, a lot of my problems with the game feels too rushed. It feels like they rushed it, and I know a lot of people probably would disagree with this heavily, but you know, I believe the game felt rushed when I was playing it, and when you're paying
similar things about Mass Effect 3. I mean,
yeah, I'd agree with you there. I thought Mass Effect 3 was, I thought Mass Effect 3 even well, if I'm honest, I didn't like Mass Effect 3 as a game. I thought the game felt like they didn't care. I know that doesn't sound right, but that's what it felt like.
Until the end. When it hit the end, I started doubting every aspect of Mass Effect 3.
Because the whole point for me is literally, it's almost like you've grown up with this character. Like, I played Mass Effect 1, I completed Mass Effect 1, loved it. You know, me and my brother played that game all the time, you know what I mean? We really enjoyed the game. And, you know, I ended up with 2 different characters on it. I had one engineer and I had one warrior, basically. And I felt that at the very end, I should have an actual ending. And it felt like I didn't, you know what I mean? And that's what really ground me about Mass Effect. It was just like, I don't actually have an ending.
Well, there was 9 different endings, and yet they were hardly different.
I think there was actually 17. I think there was 17 separate videos of different endings, because depending on your multiplayer rating, it depended on what ending you actually had. And there wasn't that much difference. All that happened is that if you had a certain ending, it sounds weird. If you had a certain rating, your ending would change. Say, for instance, you might not be able to unlock the middle option. You could only do the left or the right side. So you never got a chance to do the symbiosis thing, right? But then if you did another option and you had, say, I don't know, say 750 points in your in your multiplayer rating, you then end up with just the middle or the right one, you know, that sort of thing. And it was just that really ground me into the floor, because say for instance,
my floor is that they actually gave you a choice. I mean, you spent two to 3 games literally doing
you're with Shepard. I mean, you're always with Shepard, and you're just like, you know, this is my man, you know, I'm the boss, I'm a big boss man. And then all of a sudden you just go, oh, what, you know, is that it, really?
You want to choose, and you think to yourself, you spent the first one trying to find out who the Reapers are, and then when you do, you think, right, I've got to destroy them. The second one, right, I've got to find them, I've got to fucking destroy them. You got the third one, you got to find them. Oh, we've got a choice now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know, I wasn't that fussed with that.
It was literally just one set ending where you destroy them, fantastic, done. Which it was one of the choices to destroy them, and of course, me, I thought, well, I've spent 5 years playing this game. Of course, I'm going to destroy them.
Yeah.
And then
Whereas
I
I
didn't
didn't.
have a high enough
I
amount of
actually
points
ended up
to get
completing the
ending I
game.
wanted.
I completed the game as full good and full Paragon, and I went for the Symbiosis Paragon ending. So that's how I ended up on mine. But I made sure I had 100% rating on multiplayer before I finished the game. So I made sure that I was full Paragon before I ended the game. So there is that as well. But the same thing happened with Star Wars. As we were just chatting off, you know, before I started this video up, because I've been having problems with actually loading the video and actually doing another Let's Play while we're at it. So while we was talking, while the video was uploading, I was saying about the endings for Star Wars, you know, and how displeased we were with the endings for those as well. Or I was specifically, because obviously I wasn't that happy with them. So
what about the Jedi ending? You was more of a Jedi character. Was you satisfied with that, or do you think they could have done so much more with it?
Yeah, I didn't enjoy them at all. I thought they should have done a lot more. But as I said on another video, you know, I thought Star Wars was rushed, and I still believe that now. And I still believe that the multiplayer or the free-to-play engine they're going to use is bad. You know, I don't like the actual engine they're using. So I prefer to see a Star Trek sort of thing. But again, I would not like Star Wars to go to what's it either, to be honest, to Perfect World, because Perfect World are a donkey, to be honest. They're really bad. I don't know if you've ever played anything from Perfect World at all, Libra, but yeah, they're not good.
Well, with me, what the concept is like when they're working on a game, their managers come along and they say, right, we want to see something, come on, announce something, and then suddenly they announced Star Wars: The Old Republic, and all the Star Wars fans went absolutely nuts. They were like, oh, bring it out, bring it out, bring it out. And I think it's that pressure that makes them rush things. They're just like, right, when can we get something that they can all play?
Yeah, that's true, but I still think if they were to put, you know, whatever I say is probably going to come out wrong, because it would be wrong, but they could have, if they were to have done the thing properly and continued on, it would have been a well killer. It had the IP, it had the money, it had the funding, it had everything going for it.
The amount of money and detail that went into it, it's just a shame they half-assed it with the in-game story. Because they rushed into it. They gave something that people could play and would take up a few times, but in the end, it wouldn't feel fully satisfying.
Yeah. And I just felt that, like, say for instance, again, while we was talking off air, look, I'm sounding like a bloody radio host now.
Off air.
But when we was talking while the video was uploading or decompressing, we were saying about places like Hoth. You know, I think Star Wars visually was fantastic. It really was. Some of the places you went to, you actually felt like you were there. You know what I mean? You saw them in the films, and you go, this looks the absolute nuts. But it was just like, it just felt wrong. You know what I mean? There were certain things you just went and done, and it was just like, this doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? And it was just like, I'm not saying I wasted my money. I'm definitely not. But when it come down to the nitty gritty, I was like, can I really afford to sit here paying £8 a month or £9 a month for a game that, one, I'm not enjoying, two, it doesn't feel right. You know, it doesn't feel like I'm an actual Jedi or anything like that, because, you know, even if you was to go full bad or full good, whatever you want, it made no difference. The stories were exactly the same. Your choices didn't make a hell of a lot of difference when it come down to it, and it just felt like you were being gimped, like you would be on Mass Effect. So.
I mean, before I actually started playing The Old Republic, because I've got both games of Knights of the Old Republic, I thought I'll play that and get in the mood. And in both the games, you get to go on the planet called Nar Shaddaa, which is the bad version of Coruscant. It's a big city. And in the first two games of Knights of the Old Republic, for some reason, it still feels far more of an actual city, a busy city, in those two games than it did in the Old Republic. Because when you get on the big taxis in the that take you halfway across the bloody world in the Old Republic, all you generally see is like building with no detail. It just looks like the same building 3 buildings back.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're probably right. Now, when you were talking about the taxis and stuff, I was sitting there thinking about it there. I was like, when you first go around it looks impressive. I'm honest, it does look impressive. But when you go around and you're bouncing around different parts of the map 4 or 5 times in a row, you're like, hang on a minute.
Different locations. You just think, surely
this looks crap. You know what I mean? You sit there and you think.
It loses its feel after the first time you do it. Really.
It just feels wrong, doesn't it? You know, you just go, what? But
I think the idea I liked about the Star Wars universe with the films and Knights of the Old Republic, the first and second one, is that everything everywhere was different. There wasn't anything about either of the two.
Yeah.
Apart from the Sith Academy, but even then, in the first one, Sith Academy was up and running. In the second one, it was dead and desolate, and it was completely different. They still managed to change it from something previously had, and I loved that. And then in the Old Republic, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, but you got to remember, it is 300 years later, isn't it? And they do actually say that. Actually, you know what? I'm still not too sure which story is meant to be correct: the evil Revan or the good Revan from Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2.
Well, the concept is that he was evil when he converted to good, and he gave back into evil slightly again, in order to get close to Malak, because he wouldn't have been allowed on the Skyforge otherwise. And then, you know, it was the evil version.
I think 1 and 2 he's meant to be good, isn't he? He's meant to be going back to good.
He was evil, but he made good decisions why he was evil. That's the odd thing about it, because I've even got the Old Republic book, Revan, which is supposed to continue about 10, 15 years, however many years after.
Because if I do remember correctly, doesn't he say that he ends up being neutral, doesn't he? Because he wants to marry, doesn't he? And he ends up neutral.
I don't remember if he marries, but in the book that I've been reading, like he's got a kid on the way.
Hello YouTube, I apologise about the end of that fight, but it lagged out so much that I couldn't actually record the rest of that fight. So I've left it to the end of this part here. I'm still having a bit of lag issues here, but this will be the end of this part, and hopefully me and TS Libra will see you soon. See ya.